take over. Hey, Andy. Steve, how you doing?
All right. Hey, good. Thank you, Scott. What's up, Andy?
Hey, Steve. Hi, Scott. Hello, everybody.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trade of the Week. Another Tuesday has come and gone so quickly. So here we are. We'll let some people file in as we get through the usual protocol. For a really long time, we still do, and we're also employees of Trade Ideas, and Trade Ideas is a software as a subscription service. So really nothing about this arrangement should be construed as official financial advice. We couldn't give it if we wanted to because we're not licensed. So there you go. All right. But that means more and more people are coming to us, and Andy and I have been using this product long enough to know that it takes a good week minimum, maybe 2 weeks, to start to tailor and make it fit the way you want it to work for you. There's a lot of different directions you can go, and some people literally, I'm not lying, they literally sign up and they log in and their eyes gloss over and they ask for a refund because they're intimidated, and we get that and we understand that, and it's a very powerful product, and it can be intimidating, but we want to try and make the learning curve as short as possible and less intimidating as possible. And so we have Barry's live trading room, and we encourage questions and answers, and he's very generous with his time. He often tells support people, send them in. I will demonstrate exactly their question and show them visually. And then we have the afternoon sessions where we give Barry kind of a break and live stream either myself, I did it today, and the rest of us will pick up a slot during the week and go over whatever you guys want to go over. This webinar tonight is going to be much more pre-calculated content that we know we want to talk about, but these afternoon sessions, every 24 hours, you can pull up a chair and start asking questions, and we can share links. You can share us your link. We can help you work on it, do the best we can to get you going in the right direction, because again, we understand it's a very powerful program and it can be intimidating to some people. So take advantage of these points of contact that we make available for you guys. We'll also do our best to try and answer the questions in this webinar, but sometimes we can't get to them all. A reminder that link down there at the bottom between 12 and 1 Eastern is trade-ideas.com, a link that takes you to the level. All right, so the theme, talk about that in a minute actually, but boy, once Trade Ideas came along and helped us hone in and visually focus on what we wanted to focus on, it was a game changer. But at the same time, you hear us talk about the AI, and the AI is interesting in finding real-time triggers and setups that statistically are probable. But the AI is not really a great manager of a portfolio or management of positions as data and things change in real time. The nuances of the trader, the human being, is much better in that respect. So we work very well together. That's just always been the theme here. If you weren't with me in Jamie's webinar, it's going to be kind of the same thing. AI recap, I don't know what it is about Tuesday, turnaround Tuesday, maybe it's, Turd Tuesday or whatever, but the AI just never really seems to have a good Tuesday. I don't know what the deal is. I had a great yesterday, had a great Friday, but we'll pull whatever ideas and whatever lessons we can out of that. The trade of the week last week did not fire. DGLY, we'll talk about that. The trade of the week this week did fire and had some interesting gyrations to it. We'll talk about that as well. So I want to talk also about the A table, some modifications that can be made, and show you guys a few. It's just a good lesson in how, what is this thing? There we go. A good lesson in how you can use Trade Ideas to really hone in and modify. It's not always just super cut and dry, but I'll elaborate on that in a minute. The post market. Especially at the close, but nothing really being sitting at a term out there in the world. Specific good till canceled stop order, very valuable. Citadel has made billions of dollars off of Robinhood and E-Trade and everybody sending your order flow to them. It's the most extremely valuable information, and it goes into the matrix. God knows they probably even have a quantum computer running this stuff at this time. And it just makes for all, you guys, I don't ever want to be in another one of those. We have not. 200 and throwing insane. I'm going to quickly kind of show you. Yesterday, what happened yesterday. Let's count these. And when the algorithms that run these markets act in a very vicious fashion, and everything gets locked up, and it's not fun again. So that is what kind of happened yesterday. We had stocks across the board. And think about it. everybody was group that has to have a giant today and show you what really happened, that just algorithms went crazy. Again, to throw these flags, typically they're going. So we got one more day tomorrow before earnings. Doesn't look like waiting for that. There's just there's nothing, anything. And I didn't talk about the AI.
It's only because of one trade, this parts. We had another gap up this morning in the SPYs, and really we did not go anywhere. I mean, it makes it tough on any algorithm, any method that you. And I'm going to show you're going to see something in common, and we'll just put it right there. In relative volume, and I'm not sure, but because I see a man, let's look. Intraday pulled back all the way to the entry, and then went back, focus in on what we're seeing over here on the daily. This one broke out of that wedge yesterday and bought on support. You are going to see some there breaking out. Statistically, they are working the night before when that gap up and pull back and looked like it could possibly. Okay, it did go silent. There's a lot I can go through. There's a lot obviously that did not work, but guys, I could go through these and we could look at each one, and man and machine, just not a.
Right. Yeah, trigger and the beautiful cupping, bird in the hand, whatever you want to call it, just resting, waiting for a reason to break out. From this day, there's now acting as a suppressor rather than a supporter. And there's the final close today. Disappointing moving average would have been two more that were on the short list. Weeks, beautiful sideways, right? Not bad. Last one was Andy's pick, Momo. Into the week, I will put some. This is like the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar where he just grabs the rebound and just starts. So the trade is still intact. Tesla's earnings aren't until the after in electric. So you just look. The markets can also borrowed time. Upside capitulation. Robinhood, they just couldn't take it anymore, and they wound up buying. It is a caution flag, and I did want to kind of bring that up. That I'm a little concerned side as well as the downside. The fear of missing out. 10, 8 without going in and experiencing right now. Literally across. Look at that. There's so pretty much anything on this. Do you dare saw on Monday? And I'm going to tell you what. A couple different ways. The first thing, this whole content idea, play was on their game. Could have been using this scan going into the weekend with all the talk about GameStop and short float and things like that. Come on, don't seize up on me. There we go. All right. So this was on Friday. Now, what's not on here is or was solo, and I can verify that by I could even double click and alphabetically sort S. Okay, so it wasn't on there. So I'm going through the genesis of how I found solo. I was going through the A table, and a lot of things had already moved. They weren't looking like the consolidation stuff that we liked. We were talking about last week and the week before. So here's where we go. I'm going to say, well, wait a minute. Maybe I'm just selling myself a little short here. What if I go to configure? And what if I say, well, maybe I'll take the C+ students. Maybe I'm leaving them out. What if I go 75 to 79? That's going to give me a small window of things maybe I hadn't seen. So this is the first thing I want you guys to take away, is that you can do something like that. And when you do something like that, there it is. Solo all of a sudden popped out to me because it hadn't. That was that one filter that was catching it. Now, again, we've got so many things coming through. It was kind of worth it this time to just kind of see, and I couldn't believe how many names were just in a simple 4-digit, stock composite rating. So that's the first thing I want to take away. If you want to use this, you can do that. You can lower your threshold a little bit right now, and you can bring some more names in. But again, it's not about having all those names. It's about having quality. So we're going to look at a couple other things we could do here. Let me go back. Go back to real time. Like always. And we'll change this back to what we had before. 80 is the minimum. All right, so there's a lot of names on here. Now, what if I said, okay, so these are short squeezes. What if I only want to see the short squeezes that are going to all-time highs? How would I see those? Well, there's a few of them in there, but the best way is to take a filter that we call position and range, and we'll go position in lifetime range. We'll add that filter. Now remember, 0 is the lifetime low and 100 is the lifetime high. So what if we're seeing things that are right at the 98th percentile, you know, or higher? We click OK, click OK. Oh, look at this. All of a sudden, we've got the rocket ships. So what I'm trying to drive home here is how to use filters to maybe really drive home and filter down into a smaller subset of what we want to see. Now, maybe you don't want to be chasing all of these, and I wouldn't blame you. As you see, a lot of these have really gone there. FUV, that was the trade of the week 2 weeks ago. Still having fun on there. So that's one way that you could probably pare down all of the returns that you're getting. Yes, you could do relative volume, Ron. You could do RSI. Those are some things. But here, or let's just do one more thing. Let's say, you know, a lot of times the position and lifetime range can be valuable, but also position in like a new 52-week range, position in 1 year range. And so if we do that, add that filter, turn off the lifetime range and say, all right, show us things that are above their 52-week range. We could do it with a value of 100. And that would give us a set of just these. These all happen to be they just took out their 52-week range. FUV, there's our friend FUV. Before I get to a couple questions, I see some good ones. Here's one more. Now, one of the things I'm seeing here, and you guys heard me say, I don't want to chase that. I don't want to chase that. I don't want to chase that. So, oh, well, that would have been nice to know if I could have seen that before. So let's consider this. We're going to call it 5-day range. 5-day range expressed in percentile. This means that we can have the filter as a maximum value cap the range, so where we don't see things that have just already shot. We have all the other parameters in place, you know, the good score, the high short float, which gives us a lot of potential energy, but let's add this filter. Let's turn off that one and say, all right, well, now we want to see everything else with the stock composite rating of 80, the strong ones with short float. Shoot, we could even, you know, up that short float. That's another thing we could do, is just say there's so many. Let's just focus on the ones at 20 and above, or maybe 15, make sure we get some good ones. But here's what we could do. We could say, well, you know, let's start with 10% max. You know, it's still a big move. Maybe we could even play with that, but if we do a max 10%, what would that give us? All right, now I'm going to look at these. Now I want you guys to remember something. It's not including today's candle. So when we look at these, do not include today's candle. Consider what it looked like yesterday. This is what, you know, until tonight's overnight process goes, it's not including today's candle. So what I'm saying is the filter we just created, maximum 5-day range, cannot exceed 10%, but still has to have high short float, high score. We're trying to find things that might be compressed. We're trying to find things that might look like that, you know. So coming into today, that would have been nice to know. So using this filter might have been interesting. Let's take a look at that one. Well, that would have given us a look like that before today. Another compressed range. That would have been nice to see coming into today. That's another way in which you can really narrow down this giant palette that we've got. And if we just turn that off again, we just go back to an insane amount of ideas. What were we doing there? We were doing the 5-day range. I don't know, Andy, anything you want to add to this? Am I rambling? Is it making sense?
No, yeah, it's definitely making sense, for sure.
It's just a lot of stuff to look at. When I turn that filter off, you're back to this. I mean, geez.
Well, no, I'm glad you're doing it, because it shows people the way you can take these filters and manipulate and to see basically what you want to see. And the position and range is very powerful. I use that in so many of my alerts, and I'm glad you're kind of going over that.
Yeah, position and range, or even that range expansion, contraction, putting a lid on that. That certainly helps. I feel like I've lost a couple questions, so let's backtrack. Yes, the A table, of course. I will give you guys the raw version of it, and you guys can play around with it based on what you want to do. I'm going to put this in the chat window so everybody has access to it. I got to spell it right though. And then that looks like the one cloud. Yep. All right. So for whoever wants it, that is in the chat window. And again, I can't stress enough, I'm a little concerned about the upside euphoria. It's in the back of my mind. It's making me not be extremely aggressive and take a lot of risk.
Sure.
I know Andy's the same way because we talk throughout the day.
Yep.
All right. What about, we talked about that. Any suggestions? Okay, so, okay, good question from David. Do you both always take the trade of the week if it triggers, and then do you stay in them as long as they continue to look good? It always just depends. There's about 3 different accounts that I've got my finger on, and usually the trade of the week will be in at least 2 of them or 1 of them. I try to stay into them, and the best, simplest way to manage is if you get your big move and you're happy, I like to take off half and then let the other half work. And I will honestly tell you, am I still in half of FUV? Nope, I'm not. It's just too hard sometimes to stay in these things. But, you know, that was a nice one. I think, if I recall correctly, we were talking about FOV last week, looking just like this. Oops. Saying, oh boy, this FUV looks like it's ready to go again. And then, boy, did it ever. Let's see. If I looked at the A table now, would it show the close of? Yes, it'll. Everything in the A table will show the close of today's candle.
You might show them that feature that you use as far as your time frame goes to let him know that everything freezes. Okay, he does live always. I do live during market hours, so it will freeze at you know, at the close. But this will continue to show you.
Right. I like live always because I like to kind of see what's going on after market sometimes. But I don't like marking my charts up with after hours.
No.
All right, make it sense. All right, so let's move into let's move into the next segment, guys, before maybe 5 minutes away from letting Scott have some announcements. We can look at whatever charts you guys want to look at, and let you know, the good, the bad, the ugly, the honest truth, the unbiased truth. If you guys want to do that, and I can try and answer some other questions as well. Let's see. So somebody had started earlier with TOS, not part of the short float game. It's under $5. I mean, it's definitely coming to life. It's not my bag of support, and the higher and farther it gets away from that moving average, the more likely it is to always come back and test it at some point. But it looks like it's liking something. Not bad. Okay. Instead of a good question from Sal, instead of a 5-day range, how would you set up a 1-hour range? Same thing. Let's go right to that configure. It's a good question. So type in the keyword, go to the search tab under configure and type in keyword range. Spell it right, of course. And you asked about, what was it, a 1 hour? So 60-minute range. There it is. So this is what you're going to want, percent. If you play small stocks, you can use the dollar amount, but you could say, I want to see a tight range. Maybe put a 1% in there, or maybe 0.8, but start at 1% on the max and see if you can find tight ranges throughout the day. I know what you're thinking. I see you working there, and that's how I would approach that. Oh no, I see somebody talking about a stock that I got out of and I'm going to kill myself for. And there it is, after Fubo. I don't get the trade of the week. How do I get my email added? Sai, maybe Andy can drop that link into you. Sai, Praveen doesn't have the trade of the week link to get the actual alert. We're looking at Fubo, F-U-B-O. Looks very good. This is, right, okay, I know them, yeah. Yeah, looks really good. It's had 4 or 5 days of good movement. At any moment, it could start to consolidate on you. I would keep an eye on nice intraday movement above the 10 period. Just take profits when you can. And this is the one that's going to hurt, because I got out of this one yesterday during that stupid flash. See, this is how the stock gods, I'm going to lighten a few things up that I don't have a lot of conviction on, and this was one of them. I got out yesterday, and then
it happens today.
When I saw this today, I was so
happy. It happened to me too, and a couple. That's okay.
Yeah.
If that market would have kept going.
We can sit here and tell you guys we caught everything that's out there and we're the world's greatest traders, but that's no fun. I mean, it's more fun to just be honest and laugh about, stock gods. And
They
there.
get you sometimes.
Yeah. All right, continuing on. You guys got some good ones coming through. We'll go ahead and halt those because we got enough questions to finish us out here. F-Cell, yeah, another interesting name. Very nice movement coming off of today. You know, and also Plug. God, I saw Plug. I even thought about, look at these. They look very similar. It's everything I was talking about last week for you guys that were here last week. Just the perfect sideways action right into the hand that guides it higher. F-Cell looks great. Maybe you get some nice follow through tomorrow, and it's never bad to take some profits. TRIT, what is happening? Looks like it's in a downtrend, and these moving averages have a hold of it, and it doesn't want to go higher. It also looks like a new issue because the 50-day moving average is just starting to draw. This one is under pressure until it can get back above those moving averages. Is it BBI or BIB? Just kind of grinding higher on BIB, nothing to say bad about there. You also asked about TTM. This one is a ADR, obviously. It's got to be. Yeah, Tata, Indian. So all the gaps. I don't like trading ADRs because they're very gappy. You just got to be on the right side of the way it opens the next day. But in the bigger picture, nothing wrong with that. It should bounce right there. If it doesn't, then you want to get out. Zynga, I think we talked about that one. Yeah, really, it broke out of that nice wedge, that long trading range we talked about last week. And now it's getting a little squirrely up here. You could call that consolidation, I suppose. Amazon. Well, it's surge up, it's treading water. What does Amazon look like? It's healthy. You know, it's broke back out of this smaller range, but obviously the bigger range is going to be right there. So, oops, I would say the bigger picture in Amazon is, can it close above? It'll probably have another earnings. When's earnings? February 2nd. How about that? It's only 10 days away from crushing earnings and crushing all the small business and mom and pops out there, and probably gapping higher. Aitx. Oh, did I just freeze? Hold on, guys, while my system unfreezes here. Okay, Aitx, or was that correct? Yes. Wow, that's an interesting one. Certainly came to life, and it's under 20 cents. I don't really have much to say about those. That's a tough one, but take your profits when you can. Oh yeah, let's see, CEMI. I see somebody talking about UAVS. That's going to be fun. That one really got ahead of itself today. I'm not a fan of the way that thing trades. That's pretty nasty. The link for the, yes, Robert, or maybe if Andy was handing out that link to somebody else, you could drop it in the chat window for somebody else. They're asking about that, Andy.
I just dropped it in there.
Okay, EQOS. What do I think about that one? Well, nice wedge, but it's kind of floundering under its moving averages. I would like to have, if that one's suspect, that needs to shape up quickly, and this is the one that's going to hurt. Speaking of getting out of things too early, I was a wonderful trader here, and then I got out here, and then I just watched the rest of it. Even though UAVS was a trade of the week, it's a good one to revisit, you guys, because we talked about this on the open. All right, UAVS was the trade of the week. Boy, did it look good. Gave us 2 days of closure below the 10-day moving average, and then it came to life. And then it hasn't really looked back. It's actually setting up again. If somebody wants to take a chance and you really love it, I don't know if I'm going to love it, but you know, that could be an interesting entry if it digs in here and holds that 10-period moving average around 1150. All right, a few more, then we'll bring in Scott. Do you think snow is taking off? No, it looks under pressure, quite honestly. It's being held down by the 10 and the 20-period moving average there. How can you filter for pre-market? And if it's, you're going to have to go to the channel, and you can see the post-market channel. There's an event called post-market high and an event called pre-market high, because the regular new high and new low won't work in post-market. Somebody's talking about pets. I'm not sure what's going on there. It must have been, I don't know. Interesting, but I don't know if I would chase that now. ADT, very good day today. You know, I would expect it to have a little follow through tomorrow. What is that? ADT security, right? All right, we'll do one more. And then
go
we'll
over bongo for sure.
I was just going to go over bingo, yeah.
Okay.
Saw another one too I'm going to talk about. Boy, very gappy. This thing just really likes to gap, doesn't it? It's a U.S. stock, interestingly enough, so it doesn't have the ADR curse.
It is gappy. Yeah.
All right, the last one that nobody's asked about, but I'm going to talk about it because I keep seeing it. Boxlight Education. Yep, that one looked really interesting. I wish I'd kind of seen that yesterday. Not one to chase today, but just wanted to show you that was a really good looking setup, especially when they pull back and they wash down with a big wick and they come back up and close right at the 10-day moving average. That's money. I like those. Anyway, all right, I guess that's it. Let's bring in Scott for some final announcements. Thanks for the participation. Info@trade-ideas. If I missed any of your questions and you want to address it to me, we can hook up there at info@trade-ideas. But for now, let's bring in Scott and the remainder of the slides.
Yeah, just a couple announcements on the way out. We do have an earnings season book. Get that before we switch to a different one. TradeIdeas.com/earnings, the best place to go to get it. And you can grab some cloud links from the PDF that you'll download to import into your layouts to apply the same lessons you learn. We also got a podcast, just released one last week. Trade Ideas Podcast is what you search for in your favorite app. Hit subscribe, download the newest one, check out the archives. We've got some good interviews from last year, and we'll be releasing more. Holly New Year is the code that's good for the rest of this month, so it's just about a week. We'll leave it until next Trade of the Week webinar, but you got about a week to use it. Let's say it's 15% off your first month or year of any Trade Ideas subscription or upgrade, so go ahead and grab that. Today Trader is Steve's handle on Twitter. Also follow us at Trade Ideas. Facebook.com/TradeIdeasPro is the Facebook handle, and send all your questions to info@trade-ideas.com. Goes into the help desk. Like Steve said, we'll get you a good response. The recording will be up later on tonight or tomorrow, so stay tuned for an email tomorrow with a link to the playlist. Thanks, Andy and Steve. Have a good one. Thanks all.
See you next time.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.